Hey everyone, welcome to your first HUM 108 Blueprint. I'm Dr. Brandon Cleworth, as you know, and I'm genuinely excited to kick off this journey with you. So this is it, the official start of our adventure into the humanities. Whether you're tuning in from your kitchen table, a coffee shop, or I don't know, maybe you're out for a walk, wherever you are, I am glad you are here. The first learning unit is where we set the stage for everything else to come, and I want to encourage you right from the start. Stay curious, stay engaged, and don't be afraid to ask questions, even the ones that seem a little out there. That's honestly where some of the best discoveries happen. So I know starting a course can feel a bit overwhelming, but trust me, you're not alone in this journey. I'm here to help guide you through, so let's get into how this whole thing is going to work. So here we are, you're in the first blueprint. So let's talk about how each of your learning units is going to be set up. So every unit is split into two parts. You have a foundation section and an in-depth section. And in a regular 16-week class, each part gets approximately 1 week. If you're one of my accelerated classes or short-term formats, yeah, I know it can feel like you're sprinting. Just remember, the pace is going to be faster, so time management is going to be your best friend. Now, each unit comes with a kind of checklist, so you know what to expect. There's the blueprint document, which you probably have already seen, and this video overview, just like this one, that gives you a preview, lays out the objectives, and lists all the required tasks that you're going to have. You'll always have a pass forward podcast episode and a textbook reading that will anchor the foundation section. Then in the in-depth part of the unit, we add in some extra readings and media to help highlight key themes, thinkers, ideas, and just things that I find to be particularly interesting and hope that you will find interesting as well. So beyond that, of course, we have these knowledge checks. These are quizzes that are tied directly to the assigned materials. So heads up here. You get 2 minutes per question, and the questions are randomized. So it's not just about memorizing answers. There's also going to be a perusal activity, which is basically social annotation on a video or a reading. Think of it as a way to interact with the material and with each other. And finally, there's going to be a pack-back discussion somewhere in the unit where you're going to pose some thoughtful questions and engage with your peers again. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's all designed to help you really dig in and make the most of the material and make the material your own. All right, so what is actually on the agenda for Unit 1? So I've just given you an outline of what a typical learning unit is going to look like. So the foundations this week is all about the big questions. What are the humanities? Why do they matter today? We'll introduce you to some core disciplines such as art, music, literature, philosophy, and history. And we'll start building a shared vocabulary, especially around visual culture and music appreciation. I always say, if you can talk about what you see and hear, you're halfway to understanding it. So then we move on to the in-depth section of the unit, and that's where we're going to jump into some of the early 20th century movements in art, literature, music, and culture. You're going to get some brief videos on Art Nouveau, Cubism, Fauvism, and Futurism. You're also going to meet Georges Méliès, who was this wild early film pioneer. Seriously, his stuff is like proto-science fiction. And you're also going to meet Igor Stravinsky, one of my heroes, a composer who basically blew up the rules of music in his time. And then finally, we'll cap it off with a longer documentary about the city Vienna in Austria in 1908. The city was a hotbed of cultural and intellectual change, and it really foreshadowed of what we think of today as modern, okay? So I might be getting a little ahead of myself here, but trust me, these topics are going to be interesting to you, and they're going to give you a solid foundation for everything else that we do in this class. So let me leave you now with some final encouragement. Before I let you go, just a quick reminder, move through the blueprint and foundations material before you attempt any of the knowledge checks. It's tempting to jump ahead, I know, but you'll get so much more out of it if you take things step by step and do the prep work before you jump into any of these quizzes. And don't forget to really participate in the perusal activity and the pack back discussion question. I know sometimes it feels like just another thing to check off the list, but honestly, those discussions and annotations are where the material in this classroom is going to come alive in each of your learning units. That's where you get to see how your classmates are thinking and maybe even challenge your own ideas a bit. All right, so I'm genuinely excited for what's ahead. The first unit is all about blending creativity, critical thinking, and cultural exploration. It sets the tone for the whole semester, and I can't wait to see where your curiosity takes you. So let's get started, and I'll catch you in the first Pass Forward podcast episode where my friend Kates and I will be discussing some of the topics in greater depth with you. See you there.